Will they or won't they? It's a question many parents are asking about whether or not schools will reopen in the province of Ontario come January. While the province has repeatedly said students would remain in person for learning, they are now starting to change their tune. Ontario is continuing to break records for COVID-19 infections as the virus runs rampant through the younger population. Thousands of people in Ottawa are in isolation this holiday season, either because they have tested positive for COVID-19, came in close contact with someone who later tested positive for the virus, or because they are showing COVID-19 symptoms. I asked Ottawa's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Vera Etches, about her views on the situation. COVID-19 case counts here within the city of Ottawa are rising at levels we have not seen through the duration of this entire pandemic. It almost seems a little bit like deja vu. Here we are in our second COVID Christmas. Cases are spiraling out of control again, and this time it's even with a vaccine. I think a lot of people are worried and concerned. A large number of the COVID-19 cases we've seen locally here within Ottawa has come from school outbreaks, some of those outbreaks involving a large number of infections. So Dr. Etches, how likely do you think it is that schools here in Ottawa will reopen following the winter break?
So what I want to start with is thinking about how different this fall has been compared to most of the school year in 2020-21 when we had complete closure of schools for long periods. We were able to avoid that this fall. Certainly, though, it's been very hard on families because they have had the highest rates of COVID in the community in the 5 to 11-year-old age group. So they've had to have repeated testing, and there have been cohorts sent home and schools closed, and this is hard. The priority has been to keep schools open, to take this approach school by school, class by class. That's what we're planning for January. We're planning to be able to keep the schools open across the board and then react and act as early as we can where we need to.
Throughout the month of December, COVID-19 outbreaks in schools across the city reached new levels, with one school in Barrhaven reporting 68 infections. Almost every school in Ottawa reported at least one case among staff or students, with many reporting 3 or more. That doesn't take into account the family members and other close contacts, which would later test positive as a result. Chapman Mills Public School is one of a few in the community to report a case of the highly transmissible Omicron variant, which still for the most part is unknown. Early research suggests that while it spreads faster than other variants such as Delta, the symptoms are less severe, frequently resembling a common cold or flu. When Ontario's Premier Doug Ford announced new restrictions last week, he ended with a message for parents. As the virus reaches new levels, it's too soon to predict what January will look like.
I know you're concerned about your kids' schools and what to expect after the new year. I can tell you this, no decision has been made on what that looks like yet. We are simply not in the position to say the situation is evolving too quickly to be able to know where we'll be in early January. But what we're working on every single day with the goal of doing whatever is necessary to protect students and staff.
In Ottawa, Etches says the virus is being transmitted through multiple community settings, and those who test positive are reporting a long list of close contacts. She says if we want schools to reopen for in-person learning after the holiday break, parents need to make the tough decision of scaling back on extracurricular activities.
We have concerns with the kind of congregating and gathering and mixing of students outside of school that we can see has led to transmission then that enters into school. So my hope and my recommendation strongly right now is that parents would prioritize school and pause the extracurricular activities, pause the indoor sports with others, pause the activities where people are in close contact with others, that will make it more possible to keep schools open in January. And of course, we have to keep assessing. At this point, we're assessing day by day.
And as cases of the highly contagious Omicron variant of COVID-19 continue to spread at alarming rates here within the province of Ontario, we still have not heard from government officials as to whether or not more restrictions will come into place, including the closure of schools come January. However, many parents are already making their own decisions, saying they won't be sending their kids back to a packed classroom in just a few more weeks. They just don't feel it's safe. Charlie C. News, Ottawa.